to the Leadership Heart Podcast with Sandra J. Horton, the Growth Catalyst. Great day to all of you who are coming in to listen on the Spotify, on YouTube. I am so excited. My name is Sandra J. Horton, and I am known as not only the Growth Catalyst, but also a success change catalyst. Why those two things is because for me, success starts from within. It starts from connecting to the heart, to your mind, to a higher calling and purpose. It's about being in purpose to serve others. And today's guest is truly incredible. Dr. Donese Worden. The words that we will hear today are going to be profound. They're heart-led. Dr. Donese is an award-winning physician and researcher's entrepreneur and global health educator who truly, with expertise, spans and creates change across the globe. She combines the traditional medicine with new alternative medicines, integrative medicines, along with her expertise in understanding how to reach individuals to transform their lives. She's also an award-winning researcher and doing some amazing work in glioblastoma research, in cancer oncology work that is needed across the globe. She has earned the title, and I love this, and I'll bring you up in just one moment, the Fearless and Frank Physician. Whew, that's awesome. And the female face of medicine. So let me bring you up, Dr. Donese. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sandra. Great to be here.
Thank you so much. You know, truly, this is an amazing opportunity. And as I love to bring our guests onto the Leadership Heart podcast, this is about heart and connecting to you and letting you be able to share with my audience some amazing opportunities. But as we begin, because we share so many interesting similarities, we shared a little bit earlier as we came on, some of our love. Obviously, you're in Arizona. My love for Arizona, also the connection to healthcare. And for 25 plus years, I was in and have been around healthcare and really enjoying the change that's happening. One of the questions I have, what has surprised you in the face of all your amazing career? What is one interesting new surprise that maybe you haven't shared on a podcast yet?
There's so many. That's a hard point. It's hard to narrow it down to just one, but I will tell you that in healthcare, I think we are starting to not be afraid to say, don't give false hope. Let's give more hope. It's very frowned upon, always has been. And we were taught day one of medical school, don't give false hope. Now there's a fine line there, right? But the minute you take away hope and you take people out of their heart for hope, and it might be hope for just another breath to be with the loved one before your last breath, but you take away the hope, I watch the patient go very, very quickly, and not in a lovely, beautiful way that it can be. So I think that medicine, by the push of patients and families, are starting to do that. And I'm less afraid to do that. And I think other physicians are as well.
Hope. That word hope is so foundational to our world, to what everyone is experiencing right now. Because there's so many things that are going on around us. And as a physician, and I'd love to learn about this, what was that moment you woke up when you were a younger person saying, I want to serve, I want to share? My father was a veterinarian. My brother's a psychiatrist. My mom worked and ran the labs in Alberta, in Canada. It was a calling. There was a moment in their lives, and myself working in healthcare in digital transformation now. What was your moment early in your life that you knew, this is where I want to go? This is where I think I'm called to go?
I have had several, I'm going to say, careers. People see what I've done and they're like, how old are you? 80?
Yeah. Exactly.
But it has always been something that I was passionate about. When I was younger, I loved to sing and dance. I played violin and piano. I thought I wanted to be an actress growing up. And I got into the television business, and I was an anchor for NBC and ABC. And I had a moment of asking someone how they felt when their house had burned down to try to get the soundbite that we wanted for the thing. I said, no. There's a better way to use my talents to speak to people and to hear people's stories. My number one class was always science, but I wanted to to motivate people. I wanted to have fun and energetically feel people on the other side of me and motivate them in whatever ways, whether it was laughing or crying or whatever it needed to be. My mom was probably like one of the first naturopathic doctors. We were eating yogurt and doing things because she was so well read and she kept up with it. So I grew up with more of a natural bent in the family, not against conventional care. We did both, but about keeping up with it. And when I was out of the television business, got involved in some other things, other businesses as a typical entrepreneur, right? I was working with professional athletes, and we were. And I said, oh, there's a medical degree that will allow me to use traditional medicine and alternative medicine to license me in both. I said, that makes sense. Because I said, if I was going to go in medicine, it would have been surgery. It would have probably been neurosurgery. That makes sense to me, or cardiac. Okay, I knew immediately. And I was older. I've been at it for 25 years, but at the time I was the oldest one in the class. Most were coming out of college and getting their pre-med and going straight in. But I had that background of life experience and business experience that allowed me to really succeed in being a physician that wasn't afraid to say, here's the truth as I see it, as I see it. I could be wrong. However, I'm not going to look back and say, I wish I'd said something.
I love that. Now, you just triggered something so beautifully in my heart, is courage. Courage is a powerful thing, isn't it? And we talk about hope and courage, and I'm feeling this emergent theme that's coming from the Leadership Heart podcast today is that courage. It's knowing self. It's knowing, hey, going within to be able to then transform and to bring your gifts to the world. So within the work that you're doing now, and how are you raising and bringing that courage forward? There's resistance. People are like, I want to change. I may not be healthy right now, but I want to change. But
I tell them health is not easy. You have to work at it. It's not a give me a pill. There is no pill and we may someday have a longevity. We already have a few things that are looking good, but in general, you can't take that and not take care of yourself and have what you're looking for. So we have to take responsibility. Courage has been, I don't know, I was born fearless. I mean, the stories from the family and this and that, it's just my nature. There are other gifts that other people have, but for me, I've always stood up. Anyone that was being bullied or something that was wrong that I thought that was wrong, and no matter how I was usually the littlest one in the class, but I was always the one to say, hang on, wait a minute. And I didn't care what kind of authority figure it was. Wasn't disrespectful, but have never been afraid to challenge status quo when something didn't seem right. And in medicine, we have to start doing it. Our stats speak for themselves. We're failing. We're not doing well. And that's why I'm involved in research that is more, I'm going to say, in biotech and other things where we're using more natural medicines, or we may be even taking those medicines and developing drugs out of it. But we're looking into how to stimulate the own human body, because there's no drug better than what our own body makes. Our own chemicals that our body makes is the right dose at the right time, no side effects. And it's what our body needs, but we can only get there in a conscious, heartfelt, beautiful space. And we're telling our body, everything's okay. It's all right. I'm in a parasympathetic state, and the body goes, okay, what can I do now? I'm going to repair.
Calm.
Cascade. That's right. It's a cascade of molecules and things that we're built to fight diseases. And it's far better than anything I think that will ever develop. And so a lot of the development that I'm in is how do we activate the body's own?
And I love that. And with all your wonderful background, how can we awaken to our signs, our symptoms that start to show up that we're not in alignment with what perhaps we should be doing or could be doing?
Right. So part of some of the message that I'm teaching, like you and I met on Les Brown's tour, right?
It's wonderful.
I call it the 7 pillars of health. And it's about checking in with yourself. And it's all levels, from physical to emotional, mental, spiritual, all the levels, and rating yourself, literally being honest and saying, how am I doing on these pillars? Because if we're not doing well on any one of those, we're not living to our fullest capability, and disease will probably settle in at some point. And I tell entrepreneurs all the time, I said, we're not short of ideas. We're not short of energy. We're not short of any of that, sometimes to the expense of not going inside, really analyzing what's going on with us, not just physical, but mental, emotional, or relationship, spiritual, the whole bit, and really analyze how are we doing on all of those levels, because it sneaks up or it hits and all of a sudden I've got cancer. Where did that come from? 1 in 2 people, 1 in 2 men will have some form of cancer in their lifetime. 1 in 3 women, and that is increasing. It's about 1 in 2.5 now. Soon it will be 1 in 2. You got a 50% chance.
Wow.
So we need to be taking care of ourselves. And part of that, do we have time in our day to have a moment to let the body heal, whether it's meditation, prayer, whatever it is? What is the best form of exercise for you? What is the best food for you? It's individualized, it's personalized. It's not, here's the newest thing that an influencer came up with, go try it. No, it needs to be individualized and something that you'll enjoy and you'll continue to do. When we take care of this body and spirit and mind, it's amazing what I've watched. And I'm going to call it miracles. Remember, in medicine, we're not allowed to say that. We're not supposed to say that. But I'm going to call it that. I have watched no less than what you would call miracles in medicine, unexplained, spontaneous remissions that cannot be explained by modern medicine.
One of the things to become grounded or integrated is to understand your past, the impacts that it's having or had on you, and how you're showing up today. And this kind of links back into what you're saying when people are coming to you later on after having started a business and they're going and they're energized, but their body is depleted. They're coming to you at that end stage. And it's almost having that moment to say, hey, wait a second, we need to stop. I think I've cued you into something. So I'm gonna
No, that's okay. I would say, people say, what do you treat? And I said, well, I'm known in the oncology, in the cancer world with metabolic therapies. It's different. It's a different way of looking at cancer and treating cancer. I'm known there. And I was in pain management, but I see everybody. I see professional athletes that are at the top of their game, but they are mentally, they say, what do you specialize in? I said, well, I treat athletes and I treat stage 4 cancer patients. I treat people. I don't treat disease. I look at the person in front of me and where can we go and where are they ready to go? Specialty is listening to their story, not just looking at their medical chart. Now, I love diagnosis. That's something I really like and I'm good at. I love digging in and finding something when nobody else could find it. Really, it's about listening. And that's usually where you find the answers, not on a lab.
Powerful, powerful. And understanding that where I am today is where I am today. Right. And that there's hope, like bringing that back to what we were saying earlier. There's hope, there's change, there's opportunity, possibility to get curious. The mindset, I think, is that also that powerful place to be able to look at what we're thinking, because we know energetically that what we actually broadcast out into others, people, is what we believe, and our body is responding in the way of what we're thinking. In your amazing integrative work, how do you work with the mind, with individuals to actually be able to shift state, to be able to look and imagine new ways forward? I think this is a powerful opportunity for many to learn.
You do it in business too. Who's sitting opposite of you? What's their life story? Where are they coming from? Are they ready to hear about meditation? No, they would immediately shut down and not listen to anything else. You've got to hear them first. Business as well. You've got to say, where are they? Are they ready to jump in? Are they just an expert in some areas of their life or their experience? But where are the holes that you know are going to need to come up? But you got to know it's all about timing. And in medicine, it's about timing and dosage. In entrepreneurship, it's about timing and the dosage. When do you do what? And I think the more that we learn to tap in to our intuition and trust our gut to give us those answers, to know how to communicate with someone else, to know when the timing is right and the right thing to say at the right moment, those come from that place deep within that you're like, wow, where'd that come from? It wasn't from our mind. We've got a lot going on up here, but it came from a deep intuitive place that it was the safety time. It was the right time to bring it up, and things just change. I'll give you an example, Sandra. This is funny. Yeah. I have a research company, and we research in the health and wellness industry. Nutraceuticals are really pretty bad. We've got a lot of bad players, a lot. A lot of what's on the shelf out there is junk. And the FDA is correct in challenging that. And they've even created a new office to start looking at that. And we said, all right, the supplement companies, a lot of them don't have the money to pay for a clinical clinical trial like pharmaceuticals do. Pharmaceuticals going to get $1 billion off their drug, but nutraceuticals can't. So we developed this company, right, to be able to make it affordable for these nutraceutical companies and health and wellness space, maybe wearables, things like that. But I had a partner that was introduced to me by another entrepreneur. She was young. She's a CDC, infectious disease specialist, researcher, brainiac. We were getting along great, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But we had not gone to the place of knowing where we really understood as co-founders, who are we? What's my spiritual bent? What's my religious spiritual bent? I'm not going to say religion, but spiritual bent. My political bent, because those things can get in the way of co-founders. Here's the story. I called my attorney. We were putting together where we wanted to incorporate, because Dr. Cater lives in Florida and I'm in Arizona. We're like, okay, where do we incorporate? And he was like, well, no, Florida would be good. You can do that. And then he goes, but you've got to do it when Mercury's not in retrograde. Now, you got to understand, this is a New York hard attorney. I didn't know he even knew what that was. I don't quite know what that is, even though I've been around a lot of it, because my husband will talk about me. But I'm like, what? And he goes, no, you need to get your chart, both of your charts read so you know when to incorporate at what day and time. And I thought, okay, now that's interesting. And I thought, how am I going to go to my new co-founder and say, and I said, I'm just going to ask you, where's your kind of spiritual bent? And she goes, no, I love it. In fact, I was going to tell you, we probably shouldn't incorporate during Mercury in retrograde. And I went, oh my God. So it was funny. And we had to do this, the day and the time of day, where it was, we did it. And it has been magical all the way through. So the point is, you don't know. We see somebody in their persona and think they must think this way. Totally wrong. She was way more woo than I am. And it was like, okay. So my attorney and my research, it's a reminder. We don't know where people are coming from, and we won't find out if we're not able to be vulnerable and ask and have the conversation.
And, this lands so well for me, and I know for the audience, because as we're growing, as we're in this life journey, there's just so much opportunity. I love when I look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes.
We need to move through like our basic physiological needs and our sense of belonging, our self-esteem. As we transcend up into transcendence, that truly is about that connection, being of service. And how do we get there is the heart to the mind, to a higher calling and consciousness. And it's interesting. I'll share a little story, because this is also about, who do you trust? How do you get there with yourself? And then in this journey, we were talking a little bit earlier about this, and I think this is really important for everyone who's on a beautiful journey of awakening, to go within, to transform without, because you are seeking to understand self. So there's lots of people out there. There's lots of people, like you were just talking about, when you're bringing in, you're attracting many people. I don't know, I've that experience. Some may be a little bit shady, it may be different. Unless you know yourself from in who am I, then you have that potential to attract things. So whether it's in business, whether it's in your personal leadership, whether it's in your life, how do we gauge, going back into that intuition? What are some of your tips and your tools, your insights to really know, how do I trust? Where do I ground within myself to say, hey, this person aligns? We kind of just started chatting about it. I want to dig in a little bit deeper. Any thoughts on that?
Sure. For me, ideas and novel ideas and intuition and all that comes in a couple of different places. Around water, in the shower. I'm like, so I had to go buy the crayons for the shower to start writing stuff like biochemical things on the shower door, because I'm like, I can't get out, I'm wet. And so it comes to me. And it may be, if we look at physiologically, I'm relaxed, I'm in water, or is there something on the spiritual side with the water? Anyway, I get a lot of ideas there, but I also, meditation for me, and whatever that is for whoever it is, whether it's prayer. If we're in prayer, you're talking, you're thinking, you're in your mind still, you're in your heart and you're connecting, but you're still up here. When you're meditating, the kind of meditation I'm talking about, you're not thinking, you're getting your mind out of the way, because it gets in the way. Get this out of the way so you can feel your heart, use your intuition, and just let the answers come, because they're usually just come in a beautiful, present way. And you're like, okay, I feel that. All right. And it's 99.9% of the time the right thing. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's something that's totally expected. For me, it's meditation, it's music. Music transcends me faster and better than anything. My husband is he won a Grammy for producing Les Paul, but he does
Oh,
transformational
wow.
music. He does the music for Dr. Joe Dispenza. He works with Dr. Daniel Amen for the brain and PBS
Yeah.
specials. He is known as the music person that connects heart and brain entrainment. So
Yes.
we work together, and music is one of the most beautiful ways to make that heart and that brain entrain together to be able to have those answers that we're looking for, Sandra, that we know are there. What about this or maybe that? That self-doubt can come in. When you're in training and you're connecting those two things with the space beyond or your belief system,
Yeah.
that's when clear answers come. And I always hedge it by saying I could be wrong, but I don't have to look back saying I wished I'd said something. But most of the time, it's not incorrect. It was the right answer. But I didn't get it from here.
Yeah.
I got it by connecting and really getting into the heart, thus to your heart podcast.
This is so beautiful and so great. And, I could go off on a whole different beautiful tangent, but I would love for you just to share for the audience, how do they connect about this? Because I love like with theta waves and all the different
Yeah.
opportunities to brain and train. Are there opportunities to connect to learn more about that area?
Yeah, I mean, Barry has all kinds of workshops and seminars and all that kind of stuff. You can look at barrygoldsteinmusic.com. But here's the thing is that when you have ambient music that's at about 60 beats per minute, that is what the heart is at a rested rate. And when the heart slows down, it becomes more coherent. When that happens, the brain starts matching it and not getting out of its crazy rabbit mind of going entrepreneur mind.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
gets into the heart, they entrain together, and now you're in an orderly rhythm where you go, okay, now I can clearly think and feel what I need to do. So music, I do believe, is one of the very best ways to get there. So slow music, no, it's ambient. There's no melody in this type of music because you don't want to go, oh, that's where the bird comes in. That brings your mind back into it. Or you
Yeah.
go, I don't like this part. Or I like the cello. Or no, it's in the background like a candle, and it's just starts in training and getting everything to match is the way to say it, and to slow down, and then the body is in healing state. It's in flow state. You can create. And you get answers that way.
Well, that's the golden nuggets there. Wow, powerful. I thank you for that. Absolutely incredible, because it leads to the importance for all of us as individuals, as leaders. How do you maintain balance? Is there any other things that you can share that really have been very positive and purposeful with intention?
You have to take care of yourself. You must exercise. You must eat well. You must have time that you are scheduling in to quiet down and go on a vacation where you actually leave the phone in the room for a second. You have to schedule it in if you're a personality like we may have, Sandra. Some people
Yeah,
right? Some people aren't. They go, what are you talking about? That's crazy. Of course I leave my phone. But you have to know yourself. And I know that I schedule it in. I happen to be married to somebody who also is an entrepreneur, even though he's doing music and he's doing all, he does like your music at the beginning of your podcast. He does those things to get people into the right heart space to come on your podcast. So he's got lots of projects and things going on too, but we both work all the time, but we don't call it work. We have a passion and a purpose and a mission. It's not work. We will catch one another of like, yeah, it's probably time we ought to go do something, outside of just go, go, go. So I have a good partner, thank goodness, that helps us say, and we take vacations and we schedule. But for me individually, it's checking in with those 7 pillars. And I do it once a month. I have my patients do it when they're not seeing me. If they don't have big health challenges going on, if they do, I've got to be more hands-on. If they have cancer and other things, I'm hands-on. Right. But checking in, when's the last time you rated yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? How's your mental doing? How are your relationships? How's your spiritual doing? How are you doing with your gut, your bowel movements? That's the microbiome. Your health begins there. What is a normal bowel movement? All those things. How's your skin doing? Really checking in and being honest and saying, okay, I may not be taking care of myself as much as I should. Mm-hmm. The adrenals are they're meant to make cortisol. We think of that as a bad hormone. It's not. We need cortisol. We're supposed to have it when to run for a bear to survive, right? That's survival, fight or flight. We need it, but we only need it maybe once a month to try to survive from the bear and run up the tree and survive. But we're on it all the time. We ask our adrenals, go, go, go. And your adrenals don't know the difference between you're on a project that you're so excited about and you're pushing it, or your mother-in-law's coming, or there's a bear. You're just telling them fight or flight. So they're pumping this stress hormone. That packs that weight on right in the middle. It starts decreasing our lifespan. All kinds of things happen. So adrenals, we do have to take care of them. And there's nutraceuticals to try to help with that and all that. But the root of the problem is we're telling our body you're in fight or flight. And it doesn't have to be something negative. You could be getting married. So we have to really be honest with ourselves. Are we having enough of the, I think beginning your day and ending your day are the most important parts. When you wake up in the morning, before you get the feet on the ground running, take a moment, either prayer, meditation, listen to music, do breath work, which is amazing. Do something so that you're setting the tone for the rest of the day. That way, in the middle of the day, when things going like this, you remember, because it wasn't that long ago that you were in the I'm okay state. And you take a moment away from the chaos, you get back there, and then you make better decisions. And before we go to bed at night, go to bed with a mind clear, a heart, and a slow, orderly rhythm, or else even if you crash and you go to sleep, your brain waves may still be up here and you're not sleeping deep and you're not getting the restoration and the repair. So morning and night, most important, it's 5 minutes. That's all it takes.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. There's just so much richness and so much goodness. I want to, kind of bring us more towards the close. And I definitely want to have you back on the show for sure. Before I go to the last couple questions, can you provide a way of how people can get to connect with you, to learn more about your amazing work that you're doing?
Well, I'm starting to do some social. I have to do it. I do have a television show that's called Health Hot Seat, where we will have, it's a debate format, and I'm sitting in the middle because I work on both sides of the fence, and we'll have an alternative practitioner doctor and a traditional, those that are stuck here and don't want to go cross over. And the public has never heard those together before, Sandra. We do it in politics all day long. We've never done it in medicine. We've never heard both sides. And patients are coming in going, I don't want to tell my doctor about this, and I'm not going to tell my acupuncture about that. It's like, no. So that will be a great education piece. And then, of course, you and I are on the stage with Les Brown. Social's coming, but my website is Dr. Worden, DrWorden.com. I need to redo it. There's stuff on there, but it's not a place to keep up with me and what I'm doing. They can call the office at 480-588-2233, and I will offer your listeners a free 10-minute with me to see is there some way that I can help them or guide them in the right direction for their health. I'll be willing to do that for your listeners.
And the message, I guess, for the closing message, whether you're in healthcare or, you're leading a large organization, wherever you are in the world, what would be your message for wellness, for empathy, for being your authentic self so that you can truly live a long and beautiful life?
It's being honest with yourself. Whatever your persona is out there, the president of the company or whatever it is that truly who you are? We've talked about imposter syndrome. Lots of people talk about it, but I think there's all kinds of imposters that we don't even know. And really doing inner work and going to retreats and things like that, where you're really constantly knowing yourself, then you become fearless. You become passionate about your message, and you cannot do whatever your greatness is if you're ill. The number one thing, the greatest asset in a business, we used to say, it's the employees or it's the product, no, it's your health, because without your health, you cannot do any of those other things. Being honest, how are you taking care of yourself?
That is, how are you taking care of yourself? And I would like to be able to wrap that up at the Leadership Heart podcast with Dr. Donese. It's been an absolute pleasure to be able to connect with you at the Leadership Heart podcast. This is your opportunity to take what you heard and then ask yourself what resonated. What is one thing that you can do today that will interrupt what you normally do, that perhaps can lead you now into greater health, into perhaps balance, to connect, to get out of your mind as someone who lived a suppressed life, externally focused for 34 years until I awoke went within, self-discovery through change readiness into sustainable impact. I know what can happen if you don't become aware. Who are you? Where are you going? How are you going to get there? And how do you stay there? The essential questions of self-discovery. You heard from Dr. Donese the importance of that inner work, that connection in the 7 pillars to truly awaken yourself. So explore Dr. Donese. She's an amazing woman, amazing trailblazer, amazing entrepreneur. Connect to your heart, to your mind, to a higher calling and consciousness, and be brave. Be brave. Get out there. Share your message. Unlock your leadership story. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I want to thank you, Dr. Donese. I'm going to meet you on the other side. I'm just going to put you down as I do my outro. And I thank you for being on the show, the Leadership Heart Podcast. Next week, we have a beautiful, amazing guest that will be coming on. And stay tuned for this to go live very soon. Bye for now. Thank you again.